Okay, so the first thing that you are going to do once you log on is you can kind of see our agenda for tonight is looking through any assignment questions. Please reach out, ask them, text, email. We're going to really focus on room design and then where do we allow students to have voice in that room design. So the first thing is to look at these 4 pictures of the classrooms and really think about where do you stand as an educator? How do you want to set up the structure of your classroom and learning space? And where will you allow student ownership and where do you want to keep the ownership as the educator? There are definitely pros and cons in each of these classroom pictures and kind of reflect based on your reading as well where your own personal preferences are, but then what are the pros and cons in each of these kind of learning environments? Here are some keys to read based on your reading and based on research of what it says good educators and learning designs really encompass. 3 major categories are academic engagement, inclusive community, and then ownership and connection. If you have created a learning environment that has those 3 components as the cornerstones of it, then you really have created the best learning environment for your students. And you can read kind of each reason of why those 3 components are key, and then really reflect on the questions in each of those. Why is it important to have academic engagement? And think about how flexible the space is to the different needs of the students. How are you creating community and connections as inclusivity? And then where do you allow the student voice to come through, but also allow your own teacher philosophy to come through in ownership within the classroom? On this slide, what I want you to do is think about this continuum of teacher-owned all the way to student-owned, and think of that as a full continuum. And take all of these pieces down here, and where would you place them on that continuum? Where would you place as this is fully the teacher decision, or is it fully the student continuum, student decision on that continuum? So like desk arrangement, would you put it fully over here in teacher, or would you put it in the middle, or would you put it fully over here for student choice? And would that shift throughout the school year? Maybe you as the teacher want to make that decision at the beginning of the year, but then as part of empowerment and ownership, mid-year, it starts to move over in the continuum, and end of the year, the students are fully making the desk arrangement decisions. So for each one of these, kind of think through where is the student making the decision? Where does it fall on that continuum? And go through that list and have that reflection. So here's your big task for tonight. Based on your reading and these categories, I want you to take this scenario and design a learning space. The scenario is that you have 24 students. 1 student has an adaptive equipment, including a wheelchair. You can select the grade level. It may be 1 grade level or maybe multi-grades. Maybe it's a 4-5 classroom or a 6-8 classroom or a K1 classroom, or maybe it's just first grade. But you tell me the classroom that you are really developing it for. Think about transitions. Your classroom will host your class as well as an exploratory class. So during the school day, your class will have art or music coming into your room. So think about that when you are designing, when you have another educator coming in to use your space, how does that impact the way you design it? And then the content you will be instructing will be math, ELA, science, and social science. You are going to design what your classroom will look like for this scenario. You choose the grade, you will have transitions, you are teaching that, and you have 24 kids, but you need to be aware of the adaptive equipment. You need to design a space, and you can draw it out, you can put it in narrative format, bullet points, describe how you would design it, and then you are going to link it in to one of these spots. I'm going to make this slide deck editable, and then whatever you put your design in, I want you to link it under one of these groups. And you can partner up if you want to. If you want to find someone else in class, you can be in groups of 2 or 3 and just place it in one of the groups. Or if you want to do this individually, that's as good as well. Once all of these are kind of populated this week, I'm going to send them back out, and I'm going to have your classmates look and review at the different designs, and we're going to vote for each other's. and say which ones you liked. And there's some prizes on the line by the end of the week. When we return next week, we're going to say some of the pros and cons to our own designs. And so create your document and then be ready to link your PDF or Google Doc in as one of the groups so that your peers can go back and vote and look at it later in the week. Couple other things we want to talk about are preparing yourself for the first couple days of school. This is, slides I want you to kind of think about the 3 or 4 big steps of what to do when you are getting ready, how to pre-plan some activities that are developmentally appropriate, having those kind of ready to go before the school year starts, identifying the learning tools and locating the curriculum map, scope and sequences, what tools and textbooks are available, finding your rosters for students, and absolutely taking a tour of the key areas that teachers are working with in your school that you are hired. And then the last thing you're going to do today is think about these key things that you should walk in already in your toolbox, even before you get hired, before a job. You can create a generic welcome letter all about yourself, an opening activity. So when they enter the room the very first day of school, you have something ready to go. It could be getting to know bingo. It could be things about me, all about me activity. It could be matching a scavenger hunt about the room around you so that they take a tour of the room on their own. Think about what you would want to do with students as an entrance activity on that first day. And then what kind of letter would you want to send home to the families and community about yourself on that first day? When you're thinking about those things, I want you to add your information and ideas into this doc right here. If you click that link, it will take you to the document to type in your ideas in those different categories. And then it also asks the question, what are you most nervous about thinking about that first job and your first solo classroom? Then your assignment that you have, you can post it into your Blackboard response. What would your ideal classroom design include? And what are the important traits of the classroom in your opinion? Go ahead and post that into Blackboard. And then to prepare for next week, read the Joyful Teacher chapter. That PDF is linked into your syllabus, as well as I will get it posted onto Blackboard under week 4. Keep taking notes on your professional reading review as you're reading the articles and the chapters, because all of that's going to go into your reading summary and review pretty quick when we hit our midpoint. And then think about how you would build relationships, and that's going to be our focus for next week. And next week we will look ahead to discussion 3. And I know that the workload starts to pile up, so keep on communicating with me what you need, how I can support you. And I will see you guys next Monday. Again, if you have any questions at all, reach out and I will be sure to help you through it. Thanks for being flexible, and I apologize for the change in the type and format of class, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be able to make it back on time from an appointment. I wanted to make sure that you guys did not miss the content. Thanks, guys.